on to your questions. We have a few questions for Alex and some for Bugsy as well. This one, Alex, is from Maan. Maan from QC, Quezon City. Good AM, sir. Should you just close the business if siblings can't get along? Should you seek outside advice? Have you answered that question kanina, no?
No, I don't think so. That's a very good question from Maan, no? No, don't close the business just because the siblings don't get along.
But they run the company.
If it is going to really break apart the family, then the priorities are there. Family first or business. So, family takes precedence over a business. So if it's going to create a rift and a rivalry that is very serious, I think it's better to have harmonious family relationship rather than a striving business.
Okay. This one is also for you, but no name. As I said, sana you would text us kahit na yung first name nyo, then where your city of origin or town of origin. Magkano po ang cost ng business attire? So I guess yung sa Kingsmen products ang tinatanong niya.
I see. Well, a simple business attire would be executive pants and executive shirt, which means a long sleeve shirt. So pants will just cost you about 1,200 pesos retail, and then a shirt will cost you about over 1,000 pesos. That's a nice executive shirt, like what I'm wearing, for example. And for business attire na yung polo barong.
Polo barong, yes.
Polo barong. And you can the
Medyo
price,
high-end yun sa'yo, pero magaganda.
those would range from 1,300 to 1,700, depending short sleeve, long sleeve, cotton linen, rami, or polyester fabric.
So
many kinds.
basically they more than make up for it when you get the job, diba? You have to look the part.
You have to look the part naman.
Okay, this one is from Ces or Ches from Makati. Sometimes elder bro or sis does not deserve to be on top. But that's Pinoy culture. So baka sa company nila medyo nagkakaano na dahil kasi baka si kuya hindi magaling na manager o whatever, or si ate. So how do we deal with that?
Which is true. In a professional organization, you can't just fire a kuya.
Sibling.
I can just imagine, that's a point there. Let's just say a kuya used to handle the first years of the business quite well, and the years have gone by, and then he is not as good as he was before, and yet he's holding a top position. That is also something that I have not considered. But seniority, in any Filipino culture, sometimes you can just imagine your president or vice president whom you think shouldn't be there. Therefore, you need a board of directors to decide if such a sibling should continue with that particular role.
Okay. Bugsy, for you, this is from Arden, from Caloocan. Good morning. What is your industry doing to promote gun rights of good citizens?
Well, as an industry,
That's your market, so you have to.
yeah, as an industry, we've always promoted responsible gun ownership. So this is something we have been espousing for quite a while now. Of course, that is a topic which
It's controversial.
Very controversial.
But logic, no one will buy a legal gun and use it for a crime.
Yes,
That goes beyond
and criminals do not have licensed firearms, no. So,
okay, so basically, if you don't sell to law-abiding citizens, the criminals will get it from other sources anyway.
Yes.
So I guess your company wouldn't sell to someone who is of suspicious nature.
Yes, and there are by the way, there are very stringent control mechanisms in place now.
More than
Yes.
more than necessary.
Yes. You have very stringent control mechanisms where you have to report, the materials you use, your material inputs. You have to report what you sell, and there are each pistol, for example, will have a serial number which is reported. So there are very stringent measures in place now. But again, responsible gun ownership is the key to it all, and it's a subject which I'm sure we would require maybe two shows to to be able to discuss that.
Okay, this one is interesting, somewhat controversial for you. From Jack of Muntinlupa for MetroArms. Why do you patronize China for the parts that you use in assembling? Do you?
Our parts are mainly sourced from Europe. So
From Europe.
yes, from Europe, our small parts. We do some of our parts here. However, there are
Most of your parts, I think.
yes. The key parts we import from Europe, some from other parts of Asia, but
So it's a globalized
yes,
thing.
yes, where we can get best value for money and where it would be viable for us.
Okay. This is from Louis from Marikina. I am a mech eng, so that's mechanical engineer.
Yes,
How do you
hi,
get a
Louis.
job in firearms manufacturing? How is the salary? Very, very simple, very practical question, but that's
Yes.
what we do here on Practical Business.
Well, the firearms.
If you're doing good, you must be hiring like the call centers.
Yes, we are looking constantly looking for good engineers. No? But just like any manufacturing concern, if you're a mechanical engineer, there are several layers to that process. No? We machine a lot of parts, so that is a possibility for a mechanical engineering graduate. The assembly portion, though, is mainly a manual process, which requires a certain amount of skill and intuition.
Okay.
But as far as salary is concerned, I wouldn't be in a position to. But I believe
Competitive.
very
Any
competitive. I think
manufacturing,
we have
yeah.
there are several.
Mahal kasi yung produkto nyo, so usually ganun. di
Hindi
ba?
naman.
So,
It's a very competitive industry as well. So we have to be competitive with our pricing, and consumers require best value for money all the time.
okay. This one is June from Santa Maria, Bulacan. Santa Maria, Bulacan. Okay. Marami akong kilala ron. And then, Mr. Racho, I like Kingsmen Barongs, kaya lang not available in some places. Do you accept distributors? Naku, mukhang naghahanap ng...
Kingsmen is already in the process of expanding its area of distribution, no?
Metro Manila ka lang ba?
No, we have
Alex.
provincial locations. We are now in Robinson's department stores, 7 of them, the 2 landmarks, and 20 SM department stores. So there are over 45 SM department stores. So we are actually planning on expanding in those department stores. Slowly, it's not easy to expand the business, and you need capital for that. So we are being very cautious about our expansion program.
Okay. I think you answered this earlier, pero I'll ask you anyway dahil nakakahiya. This is from James of Makati. Mr. Racho, I am James, and I'll be applying for a job soon. Palagay ko, bata pa to si James. Will I be able to afford your business attire? What's your price range?
There are 2 price ranges, so to speak. There's the custom tailoring, which is quite expensive, but that's custom tailored, bespoke.
Para sa newly grad.
Ngayon, mga newly grad, ready to wear. Ready to wear is the best option we have. Kingsmen actually has a affordable line.
Pero yung mga mas batang, yung mas bata, they go for they're more fashion conscious. So, do you keep up with the contemporary style?
We do try to keep up. We have a number of selections that are more akin to the youthful.
I think they're a little bit, medyo kahit na ang tabas ngayon is a bit slim.
Yes.
Parang
So,
1960s Beatles na naman.
Nag-slim na kami. Meron kaming slim pants. Meron kaming
Like I
slim
can see your
shirt.
lapel, no? Not your mic lapel, but your
Ito
lapel.
daw.
It's like,
It's slimmer pa, just a few centimeters, a few inches. Ano yan depending on the times. Dati-dati mas malapad, ngayon nagiging mas makitid ng kaunti, and then lalapad ulit yan. So, it really depends on the time. So we keep up with it. We're not really a fashion forward. Menswear is very classic, and it moves rather slowly. So it's not difficult to keep up. If you wear something classic and traditional, you'll never go wrong.
but when we were talking to the guys from People Management Association of the Philippines, they said that the first impression is really important. we had as our guest the president of PMAP a few weeks ago. And they have to medyo bagyo yung first impression mo pag when you go for that job interview. So you have to invest in your attire.
It is very important to dress well. It speaks a lot. It says a lot about a person without saying a word on how they dress. So if you come to an interview and you wear shabby clothes or
That don't fit you.
that don't fit you, but it all goes. You need to have an attitude that comes along with it, an air of confidence, and sometimes
Not too much siguro, pero just enough to be...
you have to be well groomed para bagay naman, ano. And then actually, a shirt can be very empowering if you know and you have that feeling that you're wearing a very good fitting shirt and proud of it.
power tie, no?
Lumalabas yung confidence ng kaunti, no? So your shyness and inhibitions, medyo nawawala. Lalabas mo na yan. So sometimes interviewers and employers like to see that, you know, in potential employee.
Okay. Very briefly, before you give your parting shot, Alex, I'll ask you one question. This is not from anyone. This is from me. How do you deal with the spouse factor in a family-run corporation? Because you know there may be a harmonious relationship between the siblings, pero pag pumasok na yung husbands or yung wives,
Yes.
no, they're from other families. So paano yun? How do you deal
Don't
with
let
that?
them. They are not part of the business. So of course, a spouse might say, "Dear, bakit ganyan lang ang share mo? Why do you only have a particular share of the business? No, you work so hard. You should be entitled to more." Don't let them be part of that involvement because they're really not. No? It's you and your brothers and sisters, and deal with it professionally. So, no emotional attachment. It's a business.
Plain and simple. Okay. I'll ask both of you to give your parting shots after both of you answers this pahabol question from Bernie of Pasay City. Is it still good to enter into business of guns and fashion? Medyo magkalayo yung question ni Bernie, pero baka he's thinking of where to enter, no? Does your company experience growth yearly? With your parting
Bugsy, go
shot.
ahead.
Okay, thank you for that question. I think before you enter into any business, you got to make sure you have the passion for that particular
Yes,
business,
I agree.
especially in the line of firearms, no? Because that is a specialized product, it is a controlled product, and it is something you have to love, understand, and be willing to work with. No? So it is a growth industry. It continues to be a growth industry, but whether you want to go into it or not, I think you have to ask that question first. No? If you have a passion for it, then I would suggest you visit us at the gun show, and you could gauge for yourself how that industry is doing. But you have to have the passion for it.
I think Bugsy said it all. I agree with you 100%. You have to have the passion for it. It doesn't matter what industry, kahit na saturated na yan, if you are in love with that kind of business, go into it wholeheartedly. And then you will succeed. No passion and or lack of it will determine the success of your business.
Whether or not you have your whole family there or going it alone.
Yes.
Okay. And on that note, we hope today's show gave you some really useful insights and maybe some potentially life-changing ideas about starting or running your business under whatever circumstances that you're in right now. And please like us on Facebook, that's Practical Business TV, and our website is www.practicalbusiness.tv. If you want to find out more about us, log on to our website. Anyway, Practical Business will be back next week for another hour of insightful discussions and news and other developments in the world of business here on Practical Business. I'm your host, Miguel Hill. Have a pleasant day.